Hello everybody, sitting here, and today what we're going to be building is this super duper fast fab effect door, which opens in only 0.9 seconds. So yeah, it's just really fast and nice and stuff, and it's also pretty compact. So yeah, this is going to be a block by block tutorial. Just a lot of people, well, didn't like the layer by layer style I tried out that one time. And yeah, without further ado, let's crack on with the tutorial. Alright, so piston layout. So you're going to need these four items. You're going to need sticky pistons, a building block, and then blocks of redstone. So there's going to be a short side and a long side. So this here will be our long side, and this will be our short side. So on our closest to our short side, we're going to place two pistons right here. And this is going to be your floor level. So your doorway is going to go right here. Like so. So for our bottom, this is going to be our double extender, which will grab our block from here. And we will need some storage. So this is going to be our door blocks right here. So this piston will be pushed up into the door over here. So this will retract and this will push up. We're gonna have the same thing on the other side. Like so. So this is going to retract and this is going to push up. So it can push this block over into here. Oops. On the sides, we're going to have a double extender to grab these blocks. So right here, we're gonna have 4 rows of those of each other. Gonna have the same thing on the other side. And now on the short side, gonna place these here. These are going to drag the pistons back in the opening. On this side, we're gonna have some block storage right here. These are normal pistons. So your door blocks are going to go here, and this block here is just gonna be some other block. These are not part of your door in the end. So do the same thing on the other side. And also the same thing over here. So now what we need is the top, and the top is really simple. We're gonna have a triple extender, which is going to push everything down from the ceiling down into the floor. And we also need these blocks right here. Also, one more thing we need is to power these pistons out here. We can't do this from the top or from the bottom easily, so what we need to do, we have to power it from the side with a pusher that has a redstone block on it. So right here, I'll place this redstone block afterwards. We'll place pistons here and a redstone block. On top, we're going to have 2 pistons, like so. We're going to push it back down. On this other side, we have almost the same thing, except here, there's going to be 2 blocks here instead of 1. It's going to look a little bit something like this. And also here, we're going to have also our pushers right here. So, this should be our piston layout done. And now, we're going to move on to the red circuit, which is going to be the input circuit. So the red circuit is simply just going to be a line that runs along the bottom and gets the power up to the different places that we need them to go. Right, so in this corner on the long side, you're going to place a block. On this block, you want to place your lever. On either side of these, you want to place a repeater. Running over to this side, place redstone. Running into a torch from the back. And running up. into another torch that's right up here. This is going to run up and directly power our pistons up here. These need to be slabs because the redstone can then go through here and up. Gonna do pretty much the same thing on this side. So we have 3 ticks of delay. Torches give 1 tick delay. This runs up over into here. And up into here. So that's it for the red circuit. And now we're gonna move on to the sides. That's probably the easiest part to do first, because they don't need anything from, well, the bottom and the top are working in sync, but the sides are completely working on their own. So we're gonna move on to the sides now. Alright, so our sides are going, well, our closing for the sides is going to be done in purple. So we'll move on to this side first. So up here we'll just place a platform of blocks that go, well, slab up here. This is going to, well, let's just put a piston here so we won't be needing it. This is gonna run into a piston that's right here. Oops. This is gonna be on 2 ticks. Place a piston here. You can hold shift to place that. And we're gonna have redstone blocks, purple wool running down like so. We're gonna have a piston here. This is going to push this column back up. So we power the, okay. Before you go any further now, just while you're building, we should be placing some unmovable blocks in here, so that the thing does not mess up. Also place blocks here and here, just to make sure that you don't mess it up really bad when you're building. Alright, so from this we're gonna place redstone here and here. This is gonna power our back pistons, and we're also gonna place slab here and here with a redstone on it. This is gonna power our pistons through this wall when these redstone blocks are down. So here we're gonna place a updater piston facing this direction, which is going to push this back up when it's down. So this is going to go down, push it back up. Alright, so what we have now, so in the closing, when we power this will push it over, and because these are still powered, this is on 2 ticks, these will still be powered while these blocks are in here, and these blocks will update these pistons, pushing them into the door. And then everything we have to do then is push the blocks back out. Why did I destroy those furnaces? Just keep those there, whatever. So, yeah, we're gonna need to push these pistons out to, well, close it again, because these will then be powered. So we do that over here. So we're gonna have a piston right here. This is going to retract and move up here. But if you notice, right now, this isn't actually powering, because it's buttered from above, which then will mean that this piston doesn't actually retract up. So, in order to make this retract back up again, well, we'll make it retract up for the closing, we're going to place a rail right here, and a repeater behind here. So, what will happen then is that when this is down here, if we then powered this rail, it's going to extend these pistons. And then it's going to extend again afterwards. And I just messed it up. So, if you didn't place these furnaces, I'll just show you quickly how you reset it. So if you place a redstone block right here, you can then place a torch on this. That will retract our pistons nicely back. So, right now we should have our closing. Well, for this side at least. So, I guess I did not recommend you to test this right now, because you will have to be resetting it every time. So, push I have right now, see, it closes. This also retracts back here. So now what we gotta do, we gotta, well, we'll do this afterwards, but yeah, if you did test it to see if it worked, then you just have to place these pistons right here, place these blocks back in here, and do our little torch trick again. Alright, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. This closing is gonna be the exact same on the other side. So we're just gonna run it up here, over, and do this a little faster so it doesn't take up the entire video. Over here, I'm gonna put redstone block and our fancy little thing over here. And also here. Oops, not there. Down below, and then our 3-trick repeater, powering our piston behind here. Our fancy little updating thing. Running up over into here. And that should be our closing down for both sides. Alright, so well, let's just keep these furnaces here while we're building the opening. So alright, so now that we've got the side closing, we will now move on to the opening of the sides. Alright, so now that we have the closing, we should now get on to the opening of the sides. So start off by just placing 2 more slabs up here. This is going to be done in cyan, by the way. So in order to retract our first block back, we need to power this piston quickly down after the closing has pushed it back up again. So right here we have a locus stable, which is a falling edge monostable, which will just power get this and give this a 1-tick pulse so it can push back up and back up again. So this will be our first block retraction and also our extension. So I can just show this here. Oh, yeah. In the closing, we also forgot these here. These are very important. And also on here, we're gonna have our updater piston the other way. Good thing I noticed that. Anyways, here. See, we have our extension. And now we only need to retract it again. Alright, so we have that extension right there. So what we need to, in order to power these pistons out here, we want to have a redstone right here. That's gonna power the 2 top pistons. And then we also need to control this pusher going back up and back down. So running from here, well, let's do the first part of the retraction first, I guess. That will run over here, just fill in our ceiling, because we will be needing that. Over here, we want it to run over into this piston, down, the repeater, on 1 tick, in over here. This is the reason why we place these, because we want to place a block right here, with a repeater on it. This is going to power this piston the second time. Also, we want to power this over here with a comparator. So we're gonna place a furnace right here. Let's just get a bunch of junk items here, I guess. Some junk items. Place just 1 item in this here. So this is then when these block gets pushed up from below, it's gonna power this redstone. Alright, so we also want to control the pushing of this, like up and down again. We're gonna do that right from here. So we just need to depower them firstly. So we want to place a slab right here. And then also redstone over here. And also make it run up and power our top piston. well, by blocking it off like so. So we are now controlling these pistons, and now all we gotta do in order to make the entire side work is control this bottom part here. So from this here, well, this extends again, we're gonna have a falling edge. It's gonna be right here. This is going to just quickly give this bottom piston a pulse. So when this here retracts after the closing, it's going to retract this piston, which is going to retract this piston, which is going to power this bottom piston. So I guess, well, right now we should be able to test it, and I think you should too, just to see what it does. Well, just before you test it, just watch this video to see if it actually messed up. So it seems to be working. Alright, so what we saw there was coordinate dependency. So if this happened to you as well, where it actually powered the bottom piston, this is just a thing that you can't really fix, but, well, you can fix it. That's what we're going to do now, but this is just a thing that's coordinate dependent, and, well, there's not really a lot to do about that. In order to fix this, instead of having this running into this block, I'm gonna make it run up over here instead. So this does happen several places, but once you got this, the side will now be working. Alright, so we have one side right there. Alright, so yeah, if that fails, where it actually powers the bottom piston first, where it actually powers this piston first right here, then you gotta apply this fix right here. Alright, so we're gonna make the same circuit on the other side. It's running up. We're gonna grab our cyan, make our little lock stable for here. And this is gonna run over. And yes, we can just firstly, we'll do that afterwards. But first of all, let's place our one-tick repeater in here, which will be powered from over here. With this redstone block on it, I'm going a little bit faster because I don't want it to last forever. So, furnace with a junk item inside of it. I'm just using that for now, but it don't really need anything special in it. Use whatever you want. So a redstone right here. So I'm gonna control these two pistons. Now this might again, as I said, fail. So just make it go up like so. We have these here. So now we gotta power these pistons on this side as well. And this side is a little bit different. So instead of having a block here, we're gonna have a slab. And then we're going to just have a thing that blocks it off while it's down here. So just don't place this block yet, because it's a little bit hard to place other things afterwards. So here you want to place a redstone block on this and an updater piston, which will update this for the opening. Up here, if you want to make it run down, like so, powering our bottom piston. And, well, on this side, we don't actually have to power this piston up here, because this redstone block actually updates the piston up here. But on this side, we don't have that, so we actually have to power this piston, like so. So, we just power that like so. Remember to block that off so it doesn't run up and loop itself. And also it needs to power this piston. So, make sure you block it off and place the block down here. So, now we'll also see if this here up here fails here as well. Yep, it did actually. So seems to be that whenever this side fails, the other one also fails. But so let's just place this here, and let's move this wire again, like we did on the other one, to up above. Alright, so now that we got this, we can test out the entire side. Oh, first let's reset it, so we don't mess up everything. So now we can test both sides. Yeah, both our sides, they're working nice and in sync. So now what we gotta do is build this top before we go into the bottom, because the bottom relies extensively on the top actually pushing down all the blocks. So let's get into the top. Alright, so our top we're going to be building with orange. Obviously you don't have to use this block, but I'm just gonna do that. So let's just firstly fill up in our ceiling, and also do that on both sides, because there's gonna be redstone here. Alright, so first we want to power these pistons, these 4 that are right here. We're gonna do that with a redstone on both of these. And these are controlled from over here. We're just gonna get this signal even higher up. 2 more. Just do the same thing on this side. This is gonna run over into a 3-tier computer. It's powered from this dust. Which will power this. That will power this dust. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So running over into this. So this should now be powering these pistons. You also want to power this top piston. I'm gonna do that through here. So this is just gonna power this. We also want to like make this top piston stay off, well, stay on for a lot longer. So we're just gonna run it over into here. 4-tier repeater and a 1-tier repeater. There's a block there and a redstone. So this is gonna lock this repeater and make it stay on for a long time. So over here, we want to power just bottom piston, and this is pretty important. Make sure that this is actually redirected here. So you could either like power to the slab right here, or you could use a repeater in either direction, or you can power her in either direction. Or you can use a chest, a trap chest, which is right here. But or a button or a lever or whatever that's placed on this block. But I'm going to use a tripwire hook just because, well, you can't really interact with it in any way. So yeah, we're just gonna have that. So we have the start of our extension now. But in order to power our piston down here, which is gonna be a butted piston, we want to do that over here. This is gonna run over, like so. And in here, we're gonna place a little dual edge, which is gonna power this input twice. So this 4-tier computer is going to power over here. And we also want a 3-tier computer to power over into here. Oh, so this powered this piston here, but that shouldn't matter, just you don't have to reset that. Alright, so we have most of our thing now, but what we need now is, well, right now it will end up like this. So we then need to power this piston to get this piston back up here, and also to power this piston to get this block back up. And conveniently, these sides here are powered at the right time, so we can just place this here, and that will power that piston. And then 2 ticks later, power this piston, like so. So now that should be our entire top. Pretty small. So test that out. So you see those pistons up there now extend. And we have our retraction. So this will now push all of these blocks that are these 4 blocks, which are now stored in the bottom, down to the bottom. Alright, so great. Now we got our top, and all we have now left to do is this bottom. Alright, so moving on to the bottom. So what we're first going to do is we are going to make a double extender in the back here, which is going to grab this block down and here. So a normal double extender, you know, these sort of double extenders, which look a little bit something like this. These are not fast enough for us. So what we need to do is make a much faster one, which will retract this piston half a tick earlier, so that we can power this piston really quickly. So this will be a much faster double extender, which the sides also use, but that's what we're going to build over in here. So from this, we are going to place a dropper and a helper, and just place an item in there. This is then going to run over into here, and over into here, and this is going to power this block right here. So this block is like, it's coordinate dependent, but we can make it not be coordinate dependent if we place a piston down here and power it with this. So this will just make it extend and retract again, and now it's no longer coordinate dependent. Alright, so down below here, I'm gonna place a 1-tick repeater running up into this. And also over here, you want to place a 3-tick repeater running into this redstone and this one. So what this is, we're going to have a piston here, stick a piston with a redstone block on it. So when this retracts, it's going to give a really short pulse, as you can see. I'm going to give it a 0-tick pulse here. So that's just going to give a 0-tick pulse at the very end, so that it actually retracts properly. So we can see what it does right now. Just place this block up here, so you can see this actually working. So, well, this is going to be right here. So the top is going to push this block down for this double extender to do it. So yeah, see, that retracts down. This extending here is not a problem. That only happens because this redstone is here. But we are going to make that not happen by just, well, retracting this at the right time. And so that will not actually matter. Alright, so the next part we're going to do is the things that we need for the closing and the opening. Alright, so the last 2 circuits we're going to do is the pink and the lime. So these are the bottom closing and the bottom opening. We can't simply do one or the other at the same time. We actually have to do both at the same time, because they use each other in a sense. There's one part that is going to be unique though, but well, actually 2 parts, but yeah, that shouldn't matter too much. Alright, so we can just do part of the closing first. So quickly, before we go anywhere else, we're going to place 2 small circuits in here. So we're going to place a piston here and a redstone torch here and a redstone torch right here. So what we have right here is a circuit that switches these 2 pistons, because we need to push this up into here. We're gonna build a very similar circuit on the other side. Because this time we're gonna use a redstone block, because it doesn't matter. But on this side it does matter, because it powers this piston. But here it powers the top piston, but that should not matter whatsoever. Alright, so over here we're gonna do the same thing, like so. And now we have our switcher circuit right there. It's not matter if it actually powers this piston here. Doesn't matter at all. Alright, so now that we got our preparations for the closing, I'm gonna build like the first part of closing over here. So this switcher repeater is, well, first place a redstone here though. Yeah. So this part right here is going to be a hopper and a dropper. Place an item in here. Behind this we're going to place a comparator. This is just in the closing going to make it so that this item will go from this here into this dropper. And we also need to remember that we want to send it back at the right time in the opening, and we just do that from here. So when this then extends again, it's going to power this, making sure that these here will go back in this position again. Also down here, we want to power our piston that's up here. We're going to power this through this block that's right here. So it's mostly going to be useful for our green, so just make that green. So running up from below here, we're going to place a dropper. Just place an item inside of this dropper. And we're going to place another dropper. Under here, we're going to place a comparator running out of this and running up into here. So this is just going to keep this powered until this here turns it off again over here. So we want to place this here, just powering up into here, and we don't want this powering this block because, well, this is a really specific circuit. So we'll get into how this works later when we're actually building the green. So over here, we just want this to send the item back down again over here. Alright, so we also need to make sure that this side also turns off. So we're gonna place a comparator right here on a slab, because there's gonna be a redstone right down here. We also want to place a dropper and a hopper here again. And this is gonna be blocked from over here. Make this green. So down here, it's gonna run over into here and block this off. There's an item in here. And we're gonna send the item back from over here. So when this extends, just want this to be on a one-tick repeater, and that's gonna power that. So let's just remove our things here so we don't mess it up. But you see that it's gonna push these up at the right times, and then oh, it actually powered that. But that should not matter, because there's gonna be stuff happening here anyways with this double extender. So these are just now getting powered, and now the rest of the space that's in here is gonna be used for powering this piston over here and some other funky stuff, which is going to be, well, oh yeah, I'm missing stuff. Yeah, so in the closing, we want to power this piston a bunch of times, and we actually do that with this piston, which we see right here. So we're gonna create a little circuit up here, running down into two hoppers. This is powered from below with this torch, so just place two items in this one. This is gonna run into a comparator out here, and into a torch. So it's just gonna run down. So what we have right here is a little torch burnout thing. Just powers this a bunch of times, and we're just gonna block it off from below here, so it doesn't actually like mess up when it's closed. So it doesn't just start firing just randomly. So burning out from this, we're gonna place some of our green. Just gonna yeah, we'll do that afterwards. Yeah. So in the closing, we want this to stay off for a long time. And well, yeah, we do that over here. So from this, we want it to run over into here. And over to this, we don't want this powering this torch, so we are just going to place another tripwire hook right here. So that's going to direct this into this hopper, which will make this hopper keep its items for a lot longer. These hoppers are here only to give a little bit of delay so that this will turn off at the right time. So down below here, we're also going to control the torch, which is going to be right in here. Just remove this for now. I'm going to place that block back afterwards, but this is going to go into a dropper. Just place an item inside of this. I'll place a hopper on top of it, and a comparator behind. That should retract that. We also want to control this torch from the other side, over into here. This is just gonna delay this at the right time. So what this is, right here, with this torch, is actually a monosable. So on the opening, after these two blocks have been retracted into here and here, we want this to power this piston right here, pull this back in over into here. So that's what this and this over here controls. It's just gonna make this torch pulse quickly, so it actually powers this. Alright, so we also want to control this piston, I guess, in the closing. So this is gonna just push this up, and just keep it up. And now here comes the really cool and complicated part, which makes this bottom so damn fast. So over in this section over here, we're actually gonna make a redirection bud. So we just don't want this to power here. So let's just yeah, whatever. We'll look at this afterwards. So well, let's just do it now. So I'm just gonna explain some things here. So what this is, as you can see right now, this piston is actually not, well, right now it's powered, right? So we just place this here. So we're gonna have a piston that's right here. This is going to have this block on it, so this is going to retract. As you can see, this piston is now powered, which means that it's actually being budded, so it's actually getting power. So what this will mean is that whenever it receives a block at the earliest possible micro tick, if you want to know more about microtics, you should go over to Dico's channel. He explains a lot in his 4x4 there about how these things work. But on the earliest possible occasion, this piston will retract this block. So that means that the top can extend down as fast as it possibly can without messing up. So that's just what this part is going to do. That's gonna make this piston just retract at the earliest possible time. Alright, so in order to power this piston, we have to power it over here. The 2-tick and a 2-tick. And we don't want this to power just yet, so we're just gonna place a comparator right here on subtract mode. This is just gonna be an OR gate, which is just gonna be like controlled from over here. So this comparator isn't actually giving out any power right now. That's because it's being turned off by this. So this comparator is locking this. And this is gonna just depower this. Alright, so this here should be our redirection bud right here. But we do need to power this over here for the closing. I guess that's pink then. Yeah, that's for the closing. So it is actually gonna power this piston through here. We also want to make it stay on for a little while, so just place a 4-tick repeater there, and that's gonna power this. Also in here, we want to power this piston right here. That's actually not gonna power the piston, but it's gonna, the second time, update this piston right here. So it gives a second pulse. Alright, so before we can test the entire door, what we have to do is power this piston that's right down here through this block. So on top of here, I want to place a 3-tick repeater right there, and over here I want to place a dropper facing up. There's an item in that, the hopper on top of it, and over here I want to place a comparator just running out of this block over into here. It's gonna power it first right here. That's gonna power a piston there and retract the block at the right time. However, right now this is not getting powered, so we're just gonna place that right there, and it's gonna update our dropper right there. So that now should be the entire door done. So what we can do now is actually test it out. I do recommend you to not test it out yourself right now. Just watch if mine fails or not, and then you will see if you have to fix some things. Okay, so we got our closing right there. We got our opening. Alright, so great. Alright, so while doing the tutorial, I already went through one of these coordinate dependent things, which is this thing at the top here. Now, unfortunately, there is actually another one. So if your door does what this one does, it should close fine. If it does something like this, that means the sides have failed. So I can just quickly fix this, doing our little trick here again. You shouldn't do that. Now, what you need to do then, in case that happens, is this wire here. So, in some certain coordinates, the update order of the pistons are different, which means that this wire will update these back pistons. Which sucks, because, well, yeah, it works so well otherwise. So, what we gotta do to fix this is see that updates it, and, well, it does that always actually, but in some cases it just updates it more often. What we have to do is we have to move this out here, And then we're gonna use some slabs. Some blocks here. Slab here. And what am I doing? You don't need to have it up there. Here. So just move it out and up. Right, so I think that should fix this one. Let's see. Right, so that fixed this one, but don't get your hopes up yet, because it might still fail. In that case, you also gotta apply this fix to the other side. How you can tell where you have to apply the fix, by the way, is actually pretty simple. So, let me just finish building it there. Okay, so you might have noticed that there was like a shape that looked something like this. Alright, so you see that there are two blocks here. That means that one of the blocks from one of the sides got pushed over. So if you look in the storage right here, if there's missing a block either here or here, that means it is this side you gotta fix, where you have to put this. And if it's missing here, here, or here, that means it's this side you gotta fix. So, and obviously if there's missing here and here and here and here, that means you gotta fix both sides. So you just gotta look at that after it has opened and look where there's missing blocks, and then you can determine if you gotta need this side or this side. Alright, so after this fix, should still be working. Right, nice. So you have successfully built your super fast 5x5 door. Yay! And yeah, that's everything I had for this tutorial. There's not really much more to say, except that if it still fails, make sure that all the repeaters are correct, because if I change one, you see it fails instantly, which means that all the repeaters need to be that one exact timing that I put them on, or else it's going to fail really bad. So make sure that every single repeater is placed like exactly like I placed them. So yeah. So if it fails, don't go to my comment section and complain. It's probably you that did something wrong. So just go through the video once more, I guess, and then you will finally figure it out. Yay! So yeah, that's it. I'll see you again next time.